Go. We're recording. You
We're
ready?
recording.
We're
Yeah.
recording.
Well, before we start,
Yeah.
one thing. So we have the one and only Ellis Hammond. Is that how people typically say your name when they introduce you? Hammond.
I wish more people said it like that.
Oh,
That'd be
dude,
awesome,
it's gonna catch on. It's gonna catch on. But if you don't mind, if you could do that angle that you showed us earlier, where you were flexing on
is
us,
this on video? Oh, do I need to like
Kinda-
scratch my ear again and see?
kind of
what-
intimidating.
To the
Sorry,
What's up,
that was the
dude?
intro.
Ellis. How are you, friend?
Ellis, guys, this has been a long time coming, man. I'm really grateful to be here. Excited to have a good, fun conversation about faith, real estate. Who knows what we'll get into today? Maybe
Yeah.
how to grow your biceps. Let's do it.
I mean, David doesn't know anything about that.
Oh,
But
what? Faith, real estate, or biceps? Which one?
all the above.
He's all
Go.
shoulders, man.
He's all
shoulders. That's what he is.
Yeah. He's all.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Stu is you have to have a foundation to build off of, right? So like if it's like those like the chests that cave inward, like how do you're starting in a hole.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Not that that's bad. It's not bad. It's just
So I forgot to like introduce this. Hey guys, this is Filling the Storehouse podcast. If you wanted to come along with us on this journey, we're with Ellis Hammond today, and he's got really big biceps, and he is an amazing human being. And we got to hang out with him in Colorado last year, but he hasn't. You know what? I saw something on some like Instagram post or something of you like fly fishing in Colorado, and
what?
I don't remember getting an invite to that there, Ellis.
I did, man. So we just got back, went my father-in-law's 60th. And, I'm not going to lie, now that you're saying it, there was something that I actually should and could have invited you guys to. Yeah, I kind of just blamed that you were in Colorado. But, so don't hold that against me. But let me tell you the story. It was my first time really fly fishing. We went up to Edwards, Colorado. And, I actually own a fly rod. I've tossed it, but I've never actually really tried to catch a fish. And we went 3 days, and I caught a trout every single time. And
Nice, dude. What were you catching? Rainbows, cutthroat?
Yeah, caught mostly brown and rainbow. We only
Brownies.
one each day. I'm hooked, man. Like I fished my whole life, but I never fly fish. And it's like,
Dude.
it's like the hunt, man. It's a blast. I'm hooked. So I'm coming back. If you guys do it, we'll have to go for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude,
I
it's
thought
like
David-
my passion. Passion. So I was out last weekend. So my wife, she's amazing. For my 40th, she set a trip up to Montana to fly fish. That was my gift last year, and then this year she gave me time with just a dear friend to go fly fish for the weekend. Last weekend, birthday weekend as well. So, dude, that is like my jam.
Yeah.
My jam.
I think you are.
Awesome.
Well, Ellis, tell our audience a little bit more about you. Who is Ellis Hammond?
Hammond.
Yeah. Well, I'm married to Hannah Hammond, and
Nice.
We've been married about 3.5 years now. I'm a full-time real estate entrepreneur and investor, but formerly I was a full-time pastor in college missionary, and I did that for 6 years before making the turn or the pivot to become an entrepreneur and investor. And, a lot of what I learned and experienced in the world of nonprofit and being a missionary has so much shaped my thoughts on investing and capital and money. And I just, I would say, in some ways I'm still a missionary, right? Like, I haven't lost my faith or really my mission in life, which is to really impact and influence people for Christ. But I think I'm just doing that in a whole new way. Before I thought the only way to really have influence and impact was to work in the nonprofit space or to be a missionary, be behind the pulpit. And I think I've learned over the past 12 months, 18 months that business and entrepreneurship and capital is another incredible way. And I might even argue, maybe even better or more strategic way to really influence others. So I'm really excited about the journey that we're on. So anyways, yeah, I mean, that's a long story short. Former pastor, now full-time investor, real estate entrepreneur. We have a mastermind community for real estate operators. And then we have our own investor community that are looking to place capital with us in large multifamily apartments as well.
Yeah, man. For the last couple of weeks when we were working on booking you, I was just so excited about this conversation because, a lot of the things, now that I know that you fly fish, I mean, it checks so many blocks. And if you're looking for a best friend,
He
unmuted because he was trying to jump in on there, but I got him. But I will tell you what's been exciting for me is the fact that you love Jesus so much. Your life is dedicated to it. I love how you open your podcast with prayers. I love how the focus of your podcast, is building the kingdom. But then you roll in another passion of Stu and mine, the passion, the utmost passion being, service to Christ, and then the business and that entrepreneurial side of it and how you can serve God and do a mission. I would offer that I think you are an influencer, and it's incredible the things you're doing, the platform you have, and just how passionate you are about it. But I would absolutely agree that, the Stu and I have a desire to make a ton of money, and it's not because we want to buy fancy cars and nice houses and all that kind of stuff. It's the more money you have, the more money you can give to the kingdom of God, and the more you can serve.
Yeah, I mean,
it's awesome.
That I can share. I mean, I remember when I decided I wanted to be rich or be wealthy, however you want to say it. And some people are like, oh, that sounds weird. But even you saying that, I'm like, hey, we should just talk about it because no one else talks about it. Like, it's why most Christians they're so limited, one in their beliefs, but two in their capability, because they've been limited to the thoughts that they can have because of the pressure around them. And so I remember my first time I said, I'm going to get as wealthy as possible. And I was a missionary. It was about 4 years into our mission. We had grown our team to, 15 or so folks. We were hiring other young college students to come on our team to be part of what we were building. And I remember this young man coming up to me while I'm on the campus of San Diego State University and kind of off. I'm like, hey, what's that? This guy's a happy dude. He's always upbeat, and he's like kind of down. I'm like, hey, man, what's wrong? And he said, Ellis, I don't have enough money to buy groceries this month. Because we were raising funds from supporters to fund our nonprofit. And we all were kind of doing that and doing it individually. And he had just gotten behind. And, and up to that point, I really thought capital was, I guess I thought money was evil in some ways because I had seen what money did. Saw it hurt my parents. I saw that, kind of my dad passed away early in life, and he just always worried about money. So I saw it really disappoint. So I just never really wanted to do anything with money. But it was in that moment where I realized my view of money, my view of capital is completely off. And I remember thinking, and maybe it was not then, but this was for sure the turning point where it planted the seed in my head or my heart that we have to learn how to build wealth. And we're going to learn how to really create it, build it, multiply it, protect it so that we can use it for good. Because up until then, I was just using my time. And I thought that was the best way to have impact. And in that moment, was like, crap. It was almost more like, and you can bleep this out, shit, like, oh man, we have only done 50%. Like we've really blown it. And so it was then where we said, man, we're gonna figure out how to go and build and create wealth. And so that's what we've done.
Why do you think there's such a negative vibe with creating wealth, and why does that not tie well to Christianity? I mean, there's so many people that immediately put rich people and wealthy people in this like negative light. It's really interesting to me, and I don't know why.
I think I know why, actually. I think over the last 12 months, I think I do know why. I think it's a lack of education around money. I think the seed is planted with scriptures where Jesus clearly talks about money. He clearly talks about the love of money. right? So it plants the seed, and then it's the lack of education around how money works that then fuels that seed to say, well, because we don't know how money works, we don't know how to build it, protect it, multiply it, because most people see money as a limited resource. So it's anytime something is limited, right? Then you're always trying to hold on to it, or you're not sure what to do with it because you're only going to get so much of it. But you guys know this, and I know this, that money flows to value, and value is unlimited. So the more value you can create, and the more money you can make. And so I think the problem is that most of the people who are teaching about money are pastors, and they don't know anything about money, unfortunately. And because they are pastors, like they went to the same schools that you and I went to and didn't learn anything about money. And then they went to seminary, which didn't teach them anything about money. And now they're preaching to a bunch of people who don't know anything about money. So it's like, it's just a never ending cycle of no one's really talking about how to go and create and build wealth. And so that's why.
Yeah. And I think, the education piece, I think, is huge. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is the ability to critically think and to intentionally seek education. And I think, it's so interesting how much, and this is not unique, but people misquote the Bible, right? That when they talk about, wives, submit to your husbands, and then they forget all the rest of it, talking about the husband's responsibility to the wife. When they talk about money is the root of all evil, well, you're leaving out a very important part of that verse, right? The love of money is the root. And I think that there's these misinterpretations, and people hear, and instead of doing the research and going out and seeking the knowledge and receiving the blessing of that knowledge, that they just, their opinions are formed for them. And I think you hit a great point in that education piece. There's so much, you take the emotion out of it, and you can really start to grow and learn the truth. And ultimately, the truth sets you free. And it gives you freedom and opportunity and permission to go do amazing things. And at the end of the day, man, if someone's in need, and we're passionate about this, Stu and I, but if someone's in need, you want to be able to meet the need. And unfortunately, you can't just meet the need sometimes through prayer. You need to be able to write a check, give some cash, and you live your faith out, like James talks about. And I think that's an awesome point that you brought up.
Yeah, I mean, you become the answer to prayer. I mean, here's the thing: the Lord answers prayers to people. Like, this is how He set it up. He's not dropping money out of the sky. So you're praying for it. Someone's got to give it. Like, you know what I mean? And so, absolutely, man. I mean, this is how the sovereign Lord has set it up: is to work through people. It's how anyone comes to Christ. It's through somebody else. And so, in the same way, like, some Christians got to figure out how to make some money, or, nothing's going to get done. So anyways.
I love that, dude. I'm going to actually write that down and use that as a motto for us. Be somebody's answer to prayer. I love that. I love that mindset that, and is that a passion of yours? Is that something that you're intentionally seeking out, is to, part of your why that you're building? Is it to be that answer, to be a source, or what is really driving this whole thing?
That's a really good question, man. I mean, yes. I don't know if that's what I think about on a daily basis. I tell that story a lot about that young man because that's a motivator for me. That when I was a missionary, I just, for me, the best way, if I thought it was okay, we had just said, hey, we're going to vow to poverty, and we're just going to continue to give our time. And it's because I didn't know, no one taught me that there were better ways to go and make money than just go get another job, right? Like, there were ways to multiply your time and make money. And so I think one of the things I'm really passionate about, man, and in some ways it's just proving, is showing, is educating people along my journey that, there are vehicles that we can invest in to create wealth. That, as an entrepreneur, there are ways that we can run our business that is not, it multiplies time, it multiplies our dollars, and it's So I think in a lot of ways, man, what motivates me to be better is I feel like I'm leading a lot of people through my journey, because I was a missionary, now I'm an entrepreneur and investor. And so that's why we wrote this book. Like, I'm trying to show people what's possible. And then you don't need to come from wealth. You don't need to have a Harvard education. Like, all of these things that are tied to money and wealth and capital, like, those things really aren't necessary, right? Like, it really comes down to education. That's why we were talking about that book, Traffic Secrets, before we got on this. I'm like, dude, that book right there can make anybody listening to this show $100K next year, hands down, if you do what it says. No doubt about it. Anyone, $100K. But most people won't do it.
Yeah, man, that's so what does that look like as a kingdom capitalist, as a kingdom builder, once you started to create that wealth? You know, how does Ellis Hammond see, building the kingdom once you've kind of become this real estate entrepreneur and are building wealth?
Yeah, that's great, man. But here's the thing, for me, it's not like I need X in the bank. Like, we're creating vehicles that build the kingdom as we go. So it's not like, hey, we need to go build up this barn, and then, then we can start distributing wealth. Like, that's the whole point of what I'm in the book, or even our mission. I mean, the book is my mission, the mission of multifamily. It's what you guys are doing with Storehouse 310. Like, it's not saying, hey, we got to go build this up and then we can start giving away. It's like, no, we can create, this is what I'm so passionate about. We can create vehicles that produce wealth while at the same time using those same vehicles to create kingdom impact. So real estate is a great example of that. When we buy an apartment complex, yes, we're buying a vehicle that appreciates and create equity for our investors, can cash flow, but dude, we're buying a community. Like, we're buying people's homes where people are living and raising their kids, and you know what I mean? Like, and so to have an impact like that. So that's the way that I think about it. It's not like I got this future goal of becoming really wealthy and one day doing cool things with that wealth. I am passionate about building and investing in, business vehicles that do both, that can help build wealth for my investors, our community, while at the same time showing people those things don't have to be separate. You don't actually have to be a missionary to go and make impact. And you definitely don't need to go be the business owner or CEO or exec and make a lot of money and then just give that money away to make impact. Like, you can do both. Like, it's not so black and white. And that's the vision. Does that make sense?
100%, dude. Yeah. And what David and I have really seen is the more you're open and the more you're talking about it, the more it spreads. And I can't tell you, I mean, it's been really, really cool to see. Like, it's really become, for us, it's kind of become a ministry for us, and where, like, we have people reaching out to us and just like telling us, hey, thank you. We haven't bought real estate from you yet, but we have found our faith again. And we have reclaimed faith because we've started to listen to you, and you guys are open about it and you talk about it. And I mean, it's been really cool to see. And like, who knew that talking about real estate would bring someone to Christ?
Yeah. I mean, one of my biggest fears, man, of leaving the mission field was like, I'm leaving my biggest impact. And I mean, it's just not like, it was such a limiting belief. We now have a community of 30 people who are actually, they're paying members to be part of a community we started that is all Christian folks. I've now been on, 100 podcast shows where I've literally shared this message of faith in Christ and capital with thousands of people. Like, you're so right. The Lord opens up doors when we're obedient. And the other thing is cool when we got this, because this is where I'm like, you guys are such in your lane and you're finding your tribe because you're open about what you do. There's so many investors or operators or business owners I talk to who are so scared to talk about what they're passionate about. Sometimes that's faith, sometimes that's other thing, because they're like, well, I don't want to lose customers or investors. And I'm like, yes, you'll lose, but you're just like, you don't understand what you'll gain. Like, the gain is, because I've experienced the same thing, because I'm unashamed by who I am, I'm open about my mission, open about my faith. when I walk into a conference, whatever, I am not the most experienced operator. I don't have the biggest track record. I'm a former missionary, and I ain't been in this industry that long. But 100%, I have a lot of investors who would invest with me over the most experienced person. Why? Because they resonate and they're so committed to my message and my story, and that's what hooks them. And
it's good.
I'm telling you, man, like I want more entrepreneurs, business owners to think like that. Like, I just think you honestly should be more polar than try and play the middle ground. And that's why we connected so much, because we share that vision. I mean, it's in y'all's name. It's what you do. And so, your passion lies in your business. I just think it's a good business model.
And I think that's a great point, and there's, not only do we talk about, especially with our tribe, and not being identified by the uniform and letting things identify us, but having a deeper purpose, a deeper why. We talk about it all the time, but I think there's also, biblical foundations of, gain the world, but lose, but you lose in the end. Right. And at the end of the day, that's something that we take very seriously, because if we're afraid, one of the scariest verses in the Bible for me is when Jesus talks about, you deny me on earth, well, I'll deny you to the Father in heaven. Right. And like in those types of things, man, I tell you, it's been so awesome. And Stu hit on the ministry of the business. Dude, I've talked about Jesus more in the last 2 years than, our jobs in the Navy. You can't go out there and prophetize and talk about Jesus and share your faith necessarily, because we work for the government, and that's just not something that is smiled upon. But this business has opened so many doors, and I don't know how that could be wrong. I don't know how the Lord could bless those conversations about Him through business, and that could be a wrong thing. You know what I mean? And I think, and I see that in your podcast and the things that you guys are doing. And it's such an awesome thing. And how did you, tell us a little bit about, I'd like to know more about the mastermind group and the podcast, and just the vision for that, and how you got that started, and what really drove it. Cause like you said, you haven't been doing this for a long time, but dude, impact, huge, disproportional impact, right?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, it's so funny, man. Like, I always feel like silly talking about this, because so naive in the beginning. Like, I didn't even come up with the name Kingdom Capitalist. I didn't even come up with the mastermind idea, because I didn't think anybody would ever want to be a part of anything like that. Literally, someone else gave the name and said, "Hey, I think you're the type of leader that should start something like this." I'm like, "No, dude, I just want to be an investor. I don't really want to start a movement like that." Because I could see what it might be. I'm like, no. And then I'm like, I got convinced. I'm like, okay, I'll charge $1,000 for people to be a part of it. And then my business partner is like, no, dude, you'll never make any money that way. Like, you're worth more than that. What you're building is worth more than that. And so, we 10x that. But to think 12 months ago that someone would come and be a part of a community and pay really good money to be a part of this community, something that I am at the center of, in the sense of I'm leading it, founding it. I would have never dreamed, imagined, even prayed for that 15 months ago, because I didn't believe, I did not see, I say this all the time, I underestimated my value, in the sense of the value that the Lord that has placed on me and who I am and my gifts and skills. And so the podcast, the mastermind, was honestly I wonder if there's anybody else out there who is thinking like this. I wonder if there's people, literally when I started the podcast, I didn't know who I was going to interview. Thankfully, I luckily only interviewed great people. But in the beginning, I would have interviewed anybody, because I just did not know.
Except for David and Stu.
That's messed up, man. So you only
interview.
You only interview
great
enough, man. You didn't catch me. And by the way, you're 100% welcome to be on my podcast show very soon. So look out for that, everybody. Kingdom on the Rock.
Yes.
But seriously, I was like, it was naive, and then the Lord continued to open doors and continued to show me literally showed me through the people I met. Oh my gosh. And this is why I'm so passionate about this message now, because I've seen other people do it through my podcast, through our summit, through our mastermind, using their business to have massive spiritual impact on the lives of others. And I did not think or know or even understand that to be possible before we started the mastermind, before we started the podcast show. And so for me, it just continues to grow the more I do it, because I'm like, oh, this is possible. I want to help other people see this is possible. And so, the mastermind now is we have 30 plus members, all in the commercial real estate world. And I mean, our goal is to be at 50 by the end of the year as far as membership goes, and really be a leader in this industry we have 3 pillars in our mastermind. We have our faith, right? Helping one another grow in our faith in Christ, our love and unity in our family, and stewardship of our family, and business excellence. And because I think all 3 of those, as a kingdom capitalist, like that's what we're called to be successful in, and to really steward well as all 3 of those things. And so, yeah, man, I don't even know what the question was earlier on, but the point is this. I think it was how to get started. Someone said, hey, you should do it. And then I was like, all right, let's go for it. The Lord has so blessed it, but he's given me a vision along the way to show me what the power of this could really have. And dude, I think Kingdom REI, it's now Kingdom REI because we got hit with a trademark issue. We could talk about that later.
Man, we've been trying to do some Kingdom something business, and they're all taken. We've tried in like 3 different states, and they're all taken.
Like, trademarks suck, man. And I again, that's another. I didn't even know what a trademark was. I didn't even know how to go search for a trademark. If I would have known how to do that, I would have done it, and I would have looked. Again, that's what I'm telling you. I didn't even know how to do that. I just sounds good, man. Let me
but you did it, man. You took action. You took action, and I love your 3 pillars are just like ours, right? It's family, faith, faith, family, and financial freedom. Those are our 3 for the podcast. And before I push over to Stewie, I want to touch on one thing that you, just to add to what you just said. But you said the spiritual impact, making a spiritual difference. You're making a practical impact too, though. And one thing that Ryan said is last week when we interviewed him, some people are too heavenly minded to be any earthly good. And I love that saying. I'm already using it because I just love it. But you guys do earthly good. You meet practical needs. You meet people where they are. And it's not just about the spiritual side of it's the most powerful and the most meaningful, the most lasting. But there are practical needs that feed your ministry, and you guys are doing that.
Yeah. And they don't have to be separate. Listen, we can invest in an apartment complex, make 15% return on our money, and change hundreds of people's lives. Why do those things need to be separate?
Don't. Oh, I love it, man. And you're creating better people for the bigger kingdom, and to end with. It's awesome, man. Yeah. Let's talk. This is a business / real estate podcast, so to speak. So
we got some more real estate here.
Yeah, let's talk about real estate. Let's talk about some real estate.
Real quick before we talk about real estate, I'll say one last thing. I never talk when I go on these shows, man, I never talk about real estate. Honestly, people just want to know about the spiritual stuff, the impact stuff is what people really want, man.
Well, really, that's what's most important, your mindset. And
so anyway, we can talk about real estate. I'm just saying, what's been so cool is honestly, I was on this real estate show before. This guy told me before we get started, hey man, we're not really this Christian show. I know you're a Christian, but we're not really a Christian show. I'm like, great, let's talk about real estate. And we never talked about real estate, by the way. And then he asked me to pray at the end of the show. And so it's just
that's
cool,
awesome.
Man. Show up, and you're yourself and authentic and you're bold, just the doors that open up. And so I just think there's so many ways that people are listening to the show, they're driving to work right now. There's someone there, man, for you that if you just even pray right now, God, use me today in a way that I don't see. That prayer right there, man, will change your day today. Because the Lord wants to answer that prayer, hands down.
And what did you say? The scariest prayer, David, is when you say, "Use me, Lord."
Use me, Lord. Scariest prayer you can say. Because you don't know what that means. You better be hold on for the ride, right?
honestly, and I would say be more specific. Like I remember, I can tell you so many stories. And I don't know why I don't do this every day, but I don't. Maybe because I just don't want the Lord to use me every day. But I remember saying, Lord, open my eyes to the opportunities that are out there. Like, open my eyes to the opportunities available for you to work today. Now, it's a little bit hard with COVID because I'm sitting in my office all day. But that prayer, man, is powerful. Like, because, again, what's cool about that, it is the Lord, His Spirit is moving, but you're also conscious and aware now because you're praying. Okay, I'm looking for ways that God can show up in everyday, practical, mundane things, man. Like that's the kingdom right there, man. You know? So all right, let's talk about real estate. Let's get into something.
Yeah, man. Well, so how did a college pastor go and buy multifamily, multi-million-dollar apartment complexes? How does that happen?
Bought a duplex first, and loved it and hated it. We created more money in 11 months, and we made it entire time as a missionary, just through like a value add play. You know, buying the ugliest house on a great block. It's the duplex. Had a great reappraisal, and that was the seed of like, wow, this is real estate. Like, we could do this. But it also was like, man, I can't do this. Like, I can't buy a duplex at a time. This took forever. I'm not handy, and I had to do everything. And I never was going to leave the mission field or not be a pastor. I just knew like I wanted to continue investing in real estate, but we couldn't do this, and we didn't have any more money. And so that's when we learned about the world of syndication, where we could actually pool investors' capital in order to go purchase larger apartment complexes, and we own equity in the deal because we put the deal together. We've raised the money. We went out and got the financing. But that first deal we did, which was 9 months later after the duplex and $10 million purchase price, what we brought to the table was a network that already trusted us because we had been raising money for 5 years at that point for our nonprofit. And so we had a couple investors join us, and that was really what we brought to the table was a network. And we, I had been kind of building relationships with people in this industry and talking with some folks who might need a guy like me to come in and just provide a networking capability, a capital capability. I said marketing. I have some marketing skills that we've done, investor relations, it took a while. And I think the hardest part was actually finding someone where our needs really matched, right? Like, I was looking for a guy with experience who could really understand the deal side because I didn't know how to underwrite or manage or operate a 144 unit deal. So that I was lacking in. I knew I couldn't go do that on my own because I got investors' capital. Like, I don't trust myself in the 144 unit deal. No one else should trust me either at that point in my life. And so, I knew I had to go find someone I really relied and trust on, and found that. And, the same person who said, hey, I really could use a stronger network here. And that's what we did. And so that was our first syndication. And that kind of turned the tables for us, man. I'm like, wow, what if we just went and did this? And we focused on building a network and raising capital and finding more investors, and then really working with experts in the industry that we could essentially come alongside.
What was the catalyst for that? What was the actual change that took you from, college ministry to buying that duplex and to even thinking about real estate and jumping into something totally different? Like what caused that change?
Yeah, well, a couple of things to go back. I told you about the story of the missionary kid. He didn't have money to buy groceries. But before that, my father passed away, 21 years old, and he owned his own business. And he wasn't rich by any means when he passed away, but left us a little bit of money that was enough to say, okay, we don't want to throw this away, but I didn't know what to do with it. So like most, I gave it to a financial advisor and said, hey, here it is. What would you do? And the plan was, we'll put it, mix it up here in 30, 40 years, then maybe it'll be something, is kind of the plan, right? Who knows? Yeah, I don't know what you're going to make.
Cross my fingers, hope for the best.
Financial advisor. that just never set right with me, but I didn't know what else to do. And so, 4 years went by, and then that moment came, that young man, and got hungry, man. I got super hungry, and I remember I was driving in my car, and it was, I think, like a month before I got married, and the radio ad came on, said, if you want to learn how to build wealth through real estate, come to this 2-hour seminar. And it was a fix and flip seminar, but it was the first time that I'd ever seen normal people, didn't come from wealth, not super educated, changing their lives through real estate. And I just said, these idiots can do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I should be able to figure it out as well, because I'm right there with them. And, I always say, like, I always thought that real estate was the end game for the wealthy, but it was in that moment where I realized that real estate really was the starting point for all who desire to build and create wealth.
Just a bunch of knuckleheads trying to build the kingdom.
100%, man.
That's good, man. Well, and dude, I have to say, what you were bringing to the table, your marketing and your network, and dude, it's fantastic, man. I've learned a ton from you, just by listening to your podcasts, kind of like learning what you're doing on the social media, and kind of seeing your strategies and being on some of your webinars. It's fantastic, man. Like, I'm curious, is that just natural, or are you, do you have a mentor? Are you learning kind of and trying as you go? What's that been for you?
Nothing's natural. I no idea what I'm doing. Mostly figuring it out along the way.
Yeah.
I'm not innately business brilliant.
You're not some marketing genius guru just from God-given talent.
It's just, dude, I'm hungry to learn. I actually really love marketing. I always tell people, if I learned about marketing before I learned about investing, I probably would have been a full-time marketer. But I see that marketing is the backbone to any business. If you can't drive leads and then convert those leads into sales, then you'll never be a good entrepreneur, because you'll just be broke. We just talked about this book, Traffic Secrets, Russell Brunson. I've learned a ton from him. This is his third book. It's a trilogy. And he has a podcast called Marketing Secrets or something. I think it's called Marketing Secrets. Anyways, I listen to him every day. It's like my devotional, and then like my marketing coach. And I just replicate, man. I see what other people are doing in the industry, and I just copy it. Honestly, I'm like, oh, that works for him. Okay, let me do it, but with my flair. And then I've put myself around really sharp people. I mean, I go to a lot of masterminds. I pay to travel to cities, and like when I was in Denver, I did a one-night event with a couple guys who were a lot smarter, made a lot more money than me, and just said, hey, here's what I'm doing. Can you help me? And like, what can I do for you? And I think the biggest thing, man, for anyone who's, maybe it's you guys or guys in our similar position, is start a platform like this. A podcast show is a great one, because once you have a platform, like, you can have access to anyone. And when you now have something of value that you can trade for other people's value, like, I mean, that has been a game changer for me. And so it's allowed me to do things like our summit, right, where we had guys like John Rulin and Vinny Fisher and some of these really big name folks to come and speak for free. And the only reason they did that is because I had a platform to share it with. And so that has been something I've learned this year, is when you got a platform, man, then the world is your oyster, right? Like, it's amazing the access you have to folks, because you have something of value, which is an audience. And that honestly has changed everything, is our podcast show. But dude, no, like, marketing books, podcasts has been so helpful. I mean, seriously, Russell Brunson is he's a founder of ClickFunnels. It's changed the game for me. And then honestly, watching what other people have done and figuring it, like what you said, like, you come on my webinar not because you wanted to invest in me, because you wanted to see what I did. And that's so smart. That's what I do all the time. Like, people have funnels. If you don't know what a funnel is, go figure out go click funnels. So I'll see, like today I was researching, I saw this new funnel Russell was talking about on his podcast on emotional I don't know, like what emotional, I don't even know what those things are. Like whatever your emotional thing is, you know what I mean? Like you're a 1 to 10 or whatever. They're like starting a business run and they had a funnel. They're doing a summit. And so I'm going through, I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, they're doing this. They're interviewing these type of people and they're selling this on the back end. And they're taking these videos and they're transcribing it and making this. And they're upselling this. And in my mind, I have a book idea in my head and I've already have interviews for it. And I just actually don't know what to do with it yet. And so now I'm thinking, I can just do this. Like I can make money on this, grow our investor, our email list. Like, so that's honestly how we're learning as we go. And I'm seeing what other brilliant people are doing and then translating that to our industry, because the real estate industry, dude, is freaking so far behind when it comes to technology and marketing and messaging. It's really one of the reasons why I think I stand out. Again, not because I have the most experience, not because I'm the best looking, is because I have a unique message. And I'm really one of the few who are marketing pretty well. I mean, no one else is just doing it very good, honestly. So if more people knew what they were doing, I probably wouldn't have so much traction in my business. I mean, that's the truth. Like people are, it's behind. And most people really aren't doing even the simple things to like growing an email list. I mean, that's the backbone of your business. And most people don't even have an email list. And these are people that are really smart, don't have an email list. So, like a lot of people in our mastermind aren't building their email list. I'm like, how are you going to grow your business if you're not growing your email list? So,
yeah, dude, I think I think you're being a bit humble. I think there's definitely a ton of skill there. But I think what's important and what I hear you say is you spent time developing a deep why. You then turn that why into massive action, whether that's spending time with people, well, not before even the massive action, you established your value, you recognized your value, you cultivated that value, you then took that value and that why, turned it into massive action. You took action, you offered that, and you got into these different network circles, opportunities. And dude, I think there's a ton of skill, and it feeds your passion, and it feeds your drive, and it feeds the mission to be a kingdom builder, a kingdom capitalist, and to grow back full circle on that why, and to do what you do and get better and better. So I think it's phenomenal. I think there's a lot of humility there, but there's a ton of hard work, there's a ton of effort, and there's a ton of intentionality, which I absolutely love.
I just want to be so helpful for whoever's listening. Like it really is not the Ellis Hammond show. Like I just want to show people you can do it. Like, and wherever you are, whatever stage you're in, like there's a couple of things we didn't talk about. Like what I did in the beginning, I literally had a calendar link, calendly.com, 15-minute events. And dude, I would schedule them for Thursday and Fridays. This was when I was still a pastor. My Sabbath would be on Friday. Now, yes, I wasn't taking a day off. All right, condemning for that. But I would fill up my Sabbath because it was the only day I had off. I was like, I want to build my investor list. How am I going to do that if I don't talk to people? So yes, all right, I did this. This was a season of life. But I would fill that day up with 15-minute phone calls because I didn't have any other time to do it. I was up at 5 a.m., no one would talk to me at 5 a.m. So I had like one day to do it. And that's what I did, man. So like if you're early in your business, early in this world of real estate, you don't really know what to do yet or how to get started, or your network's so small, like white space is the devil. And so on your calendar, and like I would just fill up my calendar with 15-minute phone calls, meeting people. And at the same time, I'm building my email list because every time they fill out the calendar link, they give me their email, they give me their phone number. And boom, I'm taking notes. What are you doing? What are you up to? Are you interested in investing? What type of deals are you looking for, right? And so I'm just building this network. And then like you can, you start to build your platform, and now you already have 100 people that might be guests for your show, or people that you can reach out to, or listeners to your show. Like those are the things early on that we did, I think, that really built a foundation. And then, a lot of these marketing things started coming into play, like building a funnel and having a lead magnet, and, these learning how to hack people's audiences here, I'm doing it right now. I'm on your show. I'm going to give a call to action at the end of this so people come to my show, and now we're sharing audiences. And if you do that enough, like you can really build your own audience, people that really want to follow you. So It does take time, but it really, and I'm not trying to be like fake humble. Like I'm figuring out as I go, and I think anybody can do it. That it's not a complicated route. It comes down to, I think if anybody's figuring out, well, how do I grow something? How do I build something? The best advice I can give right now, man, is build a list. Have a platform and build a list. And you have to do both of those at the same time. Because if you have a platform and you're not building a list, you're wasting your time. And if you have a list and you don't have a platform, then you're wasting you're wasting like you're wasting, I don't know what, well, you're wasting something there. You're
social capital.
Yeah, like you're not there. There's a lot more there that you could be multiplying. Because you have a list, but if you're not communicating with them, if they're not hearing your voice, if they're not listening to your message, right? Like you're wasting social capital. It's a great way to put it. So both of those things, building a list, building a platform.
That's good stuff, man. Well, let's talk about your book. It's come out already, right? It was just
out,
released, right?
It's out. Mission of Multifamily. You can grab a free copy if you want it. It's free. I hope you grab it. missionofmultifamily.com. And it's not a very long book. It really, like, a lot of it has been what you've heard today, but just kind of more in detail. And I wrote in such a way, man, that I want to challenge people to think about financial freedom. I want to help educate people around how to build and create wealth, about limited beliefs and limited mindsets. And I'm very vulnerable in my book. Here are mine. Here's what I had to overcome. So I talk about this new money mindset that honestly, those couple pages right there, man, I think are worth the download. And then of course I would talk about syndication and how people can either do their own deals or invest with us. I say invest with us, invest, like what we're doing, passive investing. Most folks, I don't think they realize you can actually own real estate and not be a landlord.
Right.
It's probably if you got money and you're making good, you're doing well in your job, listen, don't become a real estate entrepreneur. Just be honest. Like that would be silly because it takes a long time to make a good, decent money in this industry. So like if you got a good $200K paying job, like don't be stupid. Like just invest passively. But if you don't know how to go build get a $200K paying job or go build a business, invest in real estate or learn how to do your own deals because it can make you really good money.
Yeah, that's good, man. So what's the website one more time to get the
missionofmultifamily.com.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, so you've got this book. I heard you mention you've got another book on your mind. Like what is the future of LS Hammond look like? What do you want to do? What are your goals here, your short-term, long-term goals as you're moving forward, and where do you see this thing going?
Yeah. So I would say our two focuses are community, and we have two communities, are the operational side of our, Kingdom REI, which is our mastermind. I see this, there's a lot of things we want to do with this. So, we're a Christian company right now. We just kind of have the mastermind, but 2021, we're really going to try and get the event space and really just continue to help operators, and again, faith-based or not, but really kind of build out business excellence, but with a kingdom lens from a Christian perspective. I just think the event space is, honestly, it's a great way for us to scale because a lot of people are looking for trainings, and I think a lot of trainings that people aren't getting. So I think Kingdom REI will continue to grow from a community standpoint, but we really kind of want to be a real industry leader in the world of commercial real estate investing. So that's going to continue to grow, and we'd really like to see that company, do, I don't know, probably, our goal would be to hit $500,000 next year in revenue from all of this. I'm just being very open because I think it's helpful for people to know.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
I think we can really get there. We're not even close to that right now, but I think with what we're doing, we could really get there, especially if we add the event side to our business.
Yeah.
From the investor community, we have about 150 investors, on our inside of our community, our list, right? When I say community, the reason I use that word is because I'll do masterminds in different cities, or we'll do property tours, and we'll invite our investors to come. So it really is like an investor community. I want to continue to grow that and find great deals for people to be able to invest in. We've played around with a fund. We're still trying to kind of work that out. Like, could we really build out a faith-driven fund that was really focused around spiritual influence and strong returns? And I think there's a couple models out there. Like, there's a couple organizations that we might partner with that could really make that a viable option. But it still comes down, man, to continuing finding really great deals and continuing to build a platform where Ellis Hammond is an influencer around faith and investing, and really see kind of where that goes. So that's kind of the two lanes we're living in, is this community event space, and then growing our investor side of the business, and finding more folks who want to get out of Wall Street and get into real estate and make money and make an impact at the same time.
Dude, I'd go to that event for sure. And I think it would be really valuable to potentially have someone like Stu be a speaker, because, they can see that you don't have to be good looking. You don't really have to be smart. And you could crush it, man. You could be,
or talk, really. Like, you don't have to talk to be a speaker.
Or talk. You can drool, right? Like, there's all kinds of things that you can do and still be incredible and successful and crush it. And Stu is a great example of all those things.
And we'll let you, shoulder guy, be the bouncer at the door.
With his crooked nose. Like, this is how I got this nose.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'm curious to ask you guys, what if you, next year, 2021, if you were to go to 4 real estate trainings, or you had like your biggest objectives to learn, like, what would you pay $3,000 to go to next year? I'm really curious, just from where you guys in your business.
Like, from a, like, what type of conference, or just in general?
Yeah, I don't want to do a conference. We want to do workshops, very objective, oriented workshops that really move people's businesses, investing, things forward. What would that be for you guys?
Yeah, I think I would probably seek out things that I'm passionate about and weakest in. So strengths, and then things that I'm weak in. So the weak would be, I'd probably be able to go to like 10 conferences, maybe 1 a month, probably 2 a month if I could afford it. But I would definitely go to leadership focused ones, because I'm very passionate about leadership. I think you can be an influencer and make huge impact in people's lives by being an effective leader. And then I would go to conferences that help me, areas that Stu really helps me, analyzing multifamily, getting more into the very specific spaces. I feel like the single family realm, that's kind of the bread and butter of what we do, but really understanding the different asset classes and how to make max impact. And then probably some kind of sustainability type, educate on materials and different ways to do business. Stu and I listened to a podcast recently, it was a Bigger Pockets podcast, where they had a contractor, don't remember the dude's name, I think it was episode like 400 or 398 or something like that, but just talking about different ways to do contracting and different materials to use and how to maximize those so education, right? If you don't know about it, I didn't even think about the things that he talked about. So probably those kind of focus areas would be something that I personally would go to.
That's good.
Yeah, I think I need to start. So most of the conferences that I go to right now are just all real estate focused, right? I mean, they're either, we went to the best ever conference last year, fully focused syndication, multifamily. I went to Flip Hacking Live with Bill Allen, flipping, wholesaling, right? I think I need to kind of start getting out of just the real estate conferences and look at more like, leadership conferences, mindset conferences, but then also like, I've been thinking about trying to like maybe go to like FinCon or something like that, more like, the leadership platform space, the podcasting space, the blogging, financial, FI community stuff, like kind of get out of just the real estate space and kind of get more connected with that.
Or
community.
a conference,
I love that.
Workshop, like, I think it's so good, man. Workshop, I think that's exactly the niche we're going to try and hit. Like, talk about sales processes and building out funnels, right? Like, that's the stuff that, you're right, dude. Most entrepreneurs and business owners are going to, except we're really entrepreneurs and business owners. We're all going to real estate conferences, which honestly we stopped going because I'm like, listen, we don't just need to go there anymore. Like most people there don't have money to invest in deals because that's why they're at a real estate conference, because they're trying to figure out how to go make money. And once you like, we already know as much as like yes, there's more to know about real estate, but we know enough now to do really well until we need to do something else. Now we need to figure out how do we market, how do we automize, right? And you're exactly right. So yeah, I think that's really good, man. I think that's kind of some of the stuff we're trying to hit. Like, so there's a great conference in San Diego. You guys should come. Digital marketer.
Yeah, that's the stuff we need to go to.
That's a good one.
Dude, I love that, man. I love that. Like even that conversation. What a great question. You know, I don't know if you're pinging us to get free ideas on your conferences or but it's brilliant. First off, and second, man, I just love. I'm super motivated by, you know, because I think about the things that I'm passionate about, and to be able to, you know, if you went to a well organized thing about, you know, and one of the things that you know, I think we're somewhat we need to recognize our value. You know, Stu and I is this leadership thing, right? You know, 20-year, 40-year combined military career. I mean, that as naval officers, like that is leadership, right? That is what they expect from us, and it's kind of a second nature thing that they develop. And I think like something like that could be useful, and if it's well organized, and it just, you know, the ideas are flowing in different ways to be. What it boils down to is how are you most influential and impactful? And I love what you just said, Ellis, about it's an ROI on your time. Is it really as beneficial to go to a bunch of real estate conferences and hear, you know, well, I'm managing, and I'm not disparaging anybody, but, you know, I'm managing $1 billion in assets. So that's awesome. That's great. But are you growing from that? And I appreciate you asking that insightful question and forcing me to think about, you know, my time investments and the ROI on that investment. And I think that's pretty rad, dude.
Well, you know, another thing we could do a Kingdom REI, Storehouse 310. Like the Storehouse 310 could be like a, you know, legit organizer or sponsor to this, and you have a piece where, you know, we let Stu on stage for a few minutes and
I'll do some cool dances.
But honestly, like I'm actually dead serious about, like, I think we could really use some strong sponsors, or maybe even guys who can help do some trainings, or we're really open. We have the first one planned, but after that, we're really interested in
is it in San Diego?
First one is in San Diego.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm there.
What are the dates?
I think we're shooting, building a landing page right now, but so I can't even, I can't even send anybody to it. It's like the worst thing ever, right? Like, oh, I don't know, email me. We're shooting for Martin Luther King MLK weekend. I think it's a good weekend.
I like San Diego.
Awesome. Yeah. So anyways, we are doing it, and it's going to be around sales process and kind of, you know, lead, like building out a sales pipeline. And I think it'll be really good. Our goal is to have 20 folks there, so I think that's pretty doable, and be pretty intimate, hands-on like crazy. So
we're very intimate, hands-on type guys. So, it's part of our business model.
Exactly. And hey, let me actually save that clip for a promo for
it'll be out. It'll be out there.
Join these guys at the first ever KREI conference.
Look at these creepy knuckleheads.
Super intimate.
Hands-on, promise. That'll be good.
And I'm actually so glad you repeated what I just said, because I'll never, ever say that again about our workshop. So thank you for
that's great.
What I just
said. That's great. Hey, and I will tell you one other thing, just for those of you out there thinking about starting a platform. You know, one, just do it. And I think your exposure to people grows because you have value to add. But I will tell you what, I love. I was talking about this in our mastermind yesterday. I do not like social media. Fine, get over it. But I love our podcasts. I love doing this, and I can't wait to have more time to just schedule people and add value to them and bring value. But why I love this, one of the big reasons, dude, I learn something every single time that we have a guest like you on, someone who, you know, capable influencer that just is crushing it. And I'll tell you, just the insights, some of the questions that you asked, like, it's got me fired up. My brain is just, that hamster in there is just going nuts, right? Spinning that wheel. Cause, you know, just some of these ideas and partnerships that you can gain from this experience, I think is phenomenal. You don't get it any other way. So I encourage everybody to jump out there, take action, because it's awesome.
Yeah. Guys, if you, I'm going to send you my affiliate link, but I would just say, if you type in, guys who are listening, trying to figure out the platform, you're into this kind of marketing thing, or you just want to grow your business, the One Funnel Away challenge that Russell Brunson does, ClickFunnels does, it's 30 days, it's every day, it's an hour training, but it'll transform your business, man. So just Google One Funnel Away challenge. For anyone who's listening, I'm sending you guys the link, because it's $100. And if you sign up to my link, I get paid $100. I'm going to send you my affiliate link. But anyone who's listening, they can just Google it, because I don't think this way. I'd send you my affiliate link too if you email me. It's so awesome, man. The training there, and here, don't get me wrong, it's upsell like crazy. He's trying to get you into the program, blah blah blah. But it's also though like dense, rich content that is totally worth $100. So if anybody's listening and they're really enjoying this conversation and want to grow and build their platform, that's a great place to start. One Funnel Away challenge. It's a 30-day thing, and I highly recommend it.
I love it, dude.
Right.
Well, I got kiddos upstairs that are waiting to put down to bed. So I think we'll probably have to cut this off, although I know we could probably talk for another hour. But Ellis, this was fun, man. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you. Please hit me up when you come to Colorado again, and I'll do the same. We'll plan on coming to San Diego.
So all your audience knows, and I don't want to get any more slack. Everybody, I'm typing in the chat the link to get on my podcast show, so they can schedule. So if it doesn't happen, it's on them. I just want my conscience to be clear, and I want my name to be clear from here on out.
The craziest thing, dude, I clicked on that link. It's a dead end link, dude. I don't know what are you sending me to? It's ridiculous.
Man.
Nothing there. No, this has been awesome, Ellis. Really appreciate it. Hey, why don't you tell our audience how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, go to missionmultifamily.com. Grab the book while it's free. We'd definitely love to get you a copy of that. You'll get an email from me, so I'd love to hear your feedback. You can respond to that. And I also create a ton of content on LinkedIn under the hashtag ThinkWealthy, and so you can follow that as well.
Hey, dude, I put a comment in your post the other day about getting your book. So
missionmultifamily.com.
ClickFunnels, dude. You got to get on the ClickFunnels.
You got to go to the funnel,
awesome.
Because if you don't go to the funnel, then I can't get your email address. You can't get all the upsells and all the great content that's going to come with that. So I can't just give you the book, man.
That's awesome. Brilliant, dude. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for gracing us with dropping some knowledge bombs and just spending time with us tonight. Really appreciate it, Ellis.
Enjoy you guys. Ciao.
Yeah, dude. Well, everyone, go share this. Give us some 5-star reviews, because this one deserves it. And most importantly, go fill your storehouse.
Make it a great day.
See ya.
See ya.